you're feeling, but I guess
What do you mean? I've been really normal all day.
how are you doing today?
I'm okay, and I almost want to get in front of the obvious nerves that I'm experiencing today, right? But it's not because I lack faith in the Avs' ability to pull this off.
Ooh, hold on. Chloe,
I
we
just went on a profanity
yeah,
fueled rant, so don't worry, you
profanity
didn't miss
laden rant.
much.
Should I start all that over? Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going, everybody? Avs playing for their lives tonight. Down 3-2 to the Dallas Stars in this Western Conference first round matchup. Megan is getting ahead of the nerves that she is displaying. That gets you caught up on the conversation so far.
Yes. It is true that I'm experiencing some nerves, but it is not because I don't think the Avs can win tonight. The work is cut out for them in not only needing to win tonight, but also then needing to win Game 7 in Dallas. And I just look at some of the things that plagued them in Game 5. It posed an obvious challenge for them going back to Dallas's arena in front of a hostile crowd and kind of bending to Dallas's will in a lot of ways. And so Avs have been good about issuing a response, and that's where I have confidence in what they're able to do tonight. And I like that the players break it down like, wait, slow down. We need to win a game tonight. We need to win a hockey game. We'll worry about what comes next after that. And I think I need to adopt that mindset a little bit because I'm getting ahead of myself with some of these nerves because I have a lot of belief in what this Avs can do because of how they're constructed. I think there's been rightful criticism of the Avs not being stronger in this series through this point because of how they're constructed. And it's something for us to certainly talk about. But I also still have a lot of faith in this team by design.
Megan, I told you right before we went live, I think the Avs are going to play a good game. I think they're going to come out and give a solid 60-minute effort. I think they're going to play with desperation. But past that, I really don't know what to expect. This entire series has trended towards the Avs, whether people online want to admit that, accept that or not. This series has favored the Avs in terms of the actual play being carried, the pace, things like that. Up until Game 6, they had only led for just over, they had only trailed for just over a minute. There's a lot of things the Avs have done well in this series, and you got to go out and do things well for one more night, and see if it gets you to another night. And that's really all you can do. Like I said, I feel confident the Avs are going to play a good game. What happens beyond that, it's anybody's guess. For me, let's just unpack a little bit of tonight. What we saw, starting with what we saw at morning skate. It was a full skate today. Nathan MacKinnon's on the ice. Gabe Landeskog's on the ice. All your, maybe some guys who would skip here and there, all on the ice this morning. No changes look like they're coming for Jared Bednar and the Colorado Avalanche. By all accounts, it looks like Sam Malinsky is going to be staying in. I guess, let me ask you, is this the right lineup?
Yeah, there's a part of me that wondered if they deferred to some of Erik Johnson's experience in this game, given that it is an elimination game, and between the players of Malinsky and Erik Johnson, one can certainly be a bit more of a factor on the kill, and a lot of this series has been shaped by special teams through this point. But there is also this hope that the Avs kind of have a feel for what Dallas is trying to do and what they're trying to bait them into doing. And there is this hope that the Avs will stay above the fray and be as disciplined as possible and take fewer trips to the box. Honestly, it's that simple. So hopefully they're not relying on the PK as much as they have through this point. And for that reason, because offense has been a little bit to create, those are words, has been a little bit tough to create. Because Dallas has had a good game plan of slowing the Avs down through the middle and making it hard for them to attack the blue line with speed. A player who just adds to that bottom line is Sam Malinsky. He has the speed and the skating, not just getting through the neutral zone, but also on the breakout. And I think he has some of the puck skill too. In addition to being a little bit stronger on his skates here lately, I think that's a part of his game that he's built up that I think he can weather a little bit of what Dallas has been doing to shut down Colorado's ability to drive play north in a way that's needed in tonight's game.
And again, not to be the shoot it guy, you need pucks to the net. Sam Malinsky has shown He puts pucks to the net. He can get pucks through traffic, and the Avs need as much of that as possible tonight. Another big thing that what the Avs have done well in the 2 games that they've won, and I believe this, you mentioned this just now, standing Dallas up at their own blue line. Not only transitioning well from defense to offense, but making it hard for Dallas to get up and out of their zone, like you were just talking about. And I think Sam Malinski has the skating ability, the agility, the speed to make those pinches, make those reads. And I think he's earned trust from Jared Bednar. And I think you put the lineup together tonight that you think gives you the best chance to win tonight. I love Erik Johnson. I think he's great. I think I've been really surprised by what he's brought. But I think, you run it back with the lineup that's given you success in this series.
Because it still boils down to speed.
Right.
And I think Dallas has found a lot of ways to combat Colorado's speed, but it also still holds the key to this series.
Well, and it's what you've talked about with players over the last couple of days is, the comment from Pete DeBoer of, this really isn't about tactical adjustments. It's who can get to their game and who can play their game the longest. The key to the Avs in this series is playing with speed, is skating the puck north, transitioning quickly from defense to offense. And you got to put the lineup together that you think gives you the best chance to do that. Not only to get there, but to sustain it for the entirety of the game. Let's get into some keys here. We'll come back to super chats at the end because I wanted to get to them right now. But let's get through our keys here, do a couple things, and then we'll circle back to some great super chats we've already got queued up. Megan, what's a key for you to start this game tonight?
Okay, you kind of already teased it, so I almost don't even want to take it away from you, but it is being stronger at the offensive blue line in terms of exits for Dallas and making it more difficult. You look at the play where Drouin ran into Jamie Benn coming out of his own end and how that led to a scoring opportunity for Dallas. I think the Avs can create that same kind of chaos, and they've even found success when they have, making it difficult for Dallas to exit their own end. That's going to cut down Dallas's own speed through the neutral zone in trying to create in transition. And you look at the odd man rushes given up in the last game. That was an area of weakness that emerged kind of for the first time in this series because things have been so tight defensively. So it's really important for Colorado to make it difficult for Dallas to get out of their own end and stack bodies at that blue line to slow them down. And then, of course, stay on them through center ice too. So that way you still have to defend your own blue line too, but it's going to make the quality of their entrance a lot less good.
Less gooder. My first key also feels a little bit like comically low-hanging fruit. Better start. You got to have a better start in this game than you did in game 5. You and I talked about it after the game. I actually thought the Avs got to their game decently well at the start of game 5. The problem was that you basically started that game down a goal. You give a goal 9 seconds in. It's fluky. It's weird. It's a lot of different things. But you just can't do that again tonight. And again, I know it's a weird fluky goal. It's easy to say. The Avs need to start this game hot. They need to get to Jake Ottinger, and they need to start imposing their will on the Dallas Stars from that first puck drop. Ultimately it felt like the Dallas Stars were able to, because they were able to get out to that lead so quickly, they were able to settle into the way they wanted to play right away. So the Avs need a good start, good first period.
I like that a lot. I think there's a strong lesson to be learned from what you can do with 9 seconds, whether it's at the start of the game and then shift by shift. It's really a demonstration of how this becomes a game that is of inches and down to the second, and it can start as soon as the drop of the puck. So I hope the Avs embrace that as something that they can tap into in a productive way with a strong start tonight to really set the tone, because look, they're the ones on the brink of elimination, so they're not in the driver's seat, so to speak, but they do have a way to dictate how this game gets played, and it's how it starts for the Avs. And I think that's where Dallas was able to force Colorado into kind of playing Dallas's game. So I'll make that kind of my next key, because something I noticed out of Game 5 was the Dallas strategy of keying in on the Avs fourth line. They became such a target of Dallas's aggression with a lot of plays that I didn't necessarily love or agree with away from the puck, right? That's not born from nothing, though. There's a reason why Dallas is keyed in on that fourth line, and it's because the way that that line plays foils Dallas's plan in a lot of ways. And so the things that they're able to do successfully to shut down players like MacKinnon and Makar aren't as successful against a line like that because of what they do so well. And it's how consistent they are. It's their relentless pursuit of the puck, and it's that puck hound retrieving pucks that makes them difficult. And you'll see Dallas will deploy numbers in battles below the goal line to support whatever, whoever's going to win the puck in that situation. They'll just send an extra body to give themselves the advantage. And where you see players like Drury, OC, and Calais succeed is because they're so hard on pucks that they're able to kind of combat that strategy a little bit. And I think that everybody needs to play hockey like the fourth line tonight to an extent. It's not just their consistency, but it is their commitment to winning battles and being strong in battles. And it's going to be very frustrating for Dallas to play against, and it might even encourage some bad behavior. But let Dallas walk that line. Let them be baited into the bad behavior single-handedly, right? Don't get caught up in the low brow kinds of things that I think lack a little bit of integrity, right? And I think the fourth line has done a good job of staying above the fray too, but there's a reason that they bother Dallas so much that everybody should learn from.
Yeah. I think it's a great call. And they've, we talked to Parker Kelly today. You can go check that out on Guerrilla Sports. I just think the role that group plays, because they're different from what the rest, I feel like that sells short the work that the rest of the group does. But like that fourth line, it's not samey, it's just hard work. I like that.
It's from every guy too. Like I don't feel like I articulated this well, but in the same way that the Avs of 2022 came at you in waves, that's everybody on the ice whenever that fourth line is on 100%. The ice. Everyone poses a threat, and it's not because of necessarily the high school play that you're looking out for, though they proved early in the series that you still also have to be considerate of that with them. It's because every one of them poses a threat because of how dedicated they are.
Yeah. I think dedicated's such a perfect word for the way that fourth line works. And just, you pointed out several times the abuse that group takes and just continuing to hammer and hammer and hammer. Doesn't seem to matter. If you listen to our last pregame, a lot of these are going to sound familiar, but another key for me tonight is winning the goaltending battle. Jake Ottinger has been outstanding in this series. Outstanding. The Avs have found ways to get to him, get pucks past him, and they need to do that again tonight. But he has shown if he's going to get a clear look at it, he's going to make the save. And Mackenzie Blackwood has been very good in this series as well. Couple bad bounces go against him in game 5. I thought he responded decently well. I thought there were some of those goals that he didn't really have a chance on. But you need to win the goaltending battle. Mackenzie Blackwood needs to outduel Jake Ottinger tonight.
And honestly, I think on the whole, Blackwood has done just that.
I agree.
So I have a lot of confidence in him. And it's been a close matchup, though. Credit to Ottinger. I think as much as we've talked about Blackwood keeping them in games, that's been true for Ottinger too. And so there is a frustration that the Avs top players haven't fully emerged in this series yet. And it's a rightfully placed frustration for sure. Ottinger has had a huge say in that, for one. And the way that Dallas defends has also had another say in that. Yeah. And it's clear that the game plan from the jump has been to neutralize players like MacKinnon and Makar, and it's been pretty effective, which is why my key to the game is to trust each other. And I don't think I'm going to say this as eloquently as it's sitting in my brain, but Jared Bednar talked about one way that he can help to coach his players through execution issues, which, let's be honest, that's a huge part of what's plagued Cale Makar, though it's not the sole thing that has troubled him, and other players that we want to see more of in this series, to include Val Nichushkin as well. And with execution issues, it's such a personalized problem, right? But there are ways that a coach can help a player through this. And one of those ways is showing them their options on a given shift, And one thing Jared Bednar pointed out that he saw with his players was that they had a teammate that they could have utilized as an option and they just didn't see. And so it's not just trust, but it's also awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And this team was constructed to be any given shift. You have options and they're good ones. And maybe it's not your first option, your plan A, but there are good options because of by design, by the trade deadline design, that I think they need to trust in a little bit more. And it's not just deferring to a teammate because that's where we see them overpassing the puck. It's trusting in themselves a little bit more too, because you'll see the way that Dallas tries to force Colorado to create from the perimeter. And the Avs, if left to their own devices, can settle into that game, but it's going to hurt their chances of creating quality, high danger threats to the net. And so that's where I want to see them lean on the 5-man unit that's on the ice. And the awareness component's different from trust. That's an attention to detail thing. And it's going to improve, honestly, the 200-foot game. Because I talked about being strong at the offensive blue line to deny Dallas exits. But that's also going to decide how Dallas sets up in your own end, getting back the other way, and how you counterattacked going up ice. And so on the breakout side of things, you also need to lean on each other, because Dallas has a pretty effective strategy for making it harder for Colorado to break out the puck in a way that allows them to attack with speed. And so similarly, their breakout might not just be D to D. It might need to be relying on some of your other teammates to help move the puck north in a slightly different way so that you do have the benefit of speed on your side. And it all comes back to awareness, because you obviously don't want to turn over the puck in your own end, and trust in each other. And so I just want to see them really playing with a lot of unity tonight, which sounds cheesy as hell. But, we've watched them build this monster at the deadline, and we've seen shades of it over the course of this series, how they can be this powerhouse of a team. And you look at the analytics, it supports that they're doing a lot of the right things. They are creating chances. I just think the execution component will come down to trust in the end.
Yeah. And then mine, which is a little bit counterintuitive to what you just said about needing everybody, but your best players got to be your best players.
That's fair.
That's my last
that's fair.
We talked from the beginning of this series, and Megan, truthfully, the answer is you need both of those things. You need your depth supporting, and then you need your best players to be your best players. We talked at the beginning of this series of look, Dallas is a really good team, really deep, really structured, plays a way that is difficult for the Avs to generate and create. But the Avs have the top of the lineup. Against almost any team, the Avs are going to have the best player or players on the ice. And look, I think Cale Makar has gotten a little bit of an unfair rap in this series. I think he's been really good. I think if not for Jake Ottinger, there are a few goals in the back of the net, and there's a lot of that pressure that is kind of relieved from the scrutiny. But the fact of the matter is he hasn't scored yet in this series. Cale Makar's got to factor into this game in a big way. Val Nichushkin looks like he is playing more frustrated than we've maybe ever seen him. He needs to factor in this series. I'll just come right out and say it. Marty Netchis has been too soft. He has not thrived in this style of playoff hockey. You need a lot more from him tonight. Nathan MacKinnon needs to keep doing what he's been doing. He would never admit this. He was snubbed on the Hart Trophy, not even being listed as a finalist.
I think I had him as number one for my vote, for what it's worth.
Megan, I know you are not the only person that had him first on your ballot, and not just within the Colorado market. I know multiple people who had him number one. So I do think that
they stuffed the ballot box.
Yeah. I do think that there is going to be a version of Nathan MacKinnon night that's going to be like, cool, you guys don't think I'm the most valuable player? I'll show you. I'll show you how valuable I am. And I think you need him to keep doing what he's been doing. You need Gabe Landeskog to keep doing what Gabe's been doing. I've actually liked Brock Nelson in this series. Has he put up a ton of points? No, not necessarily, but I think Brock Nelson's done a lot of good things. You need everyone else in that top six to really, really get going and be that initial wave. And then to your point, you need the depth to come in and support and add that extra little punch. And that's how you're going to get over the hump tonight.
Yeah. When you've got guys trying to take away time and space from players like MacKinnon, if there is an option like Netchus on the ice, that needs to be a trusted option. And I think Netchus hasn't done enough to be a trusted option, to be honest with you. And I think his issue is that he took feedback of how to be effective in the playoffs a little too literally, right? He was told you need to be physical and you need to play the body. And that's what's going to lead to possession, right? Because it's playoff hockey. It's not going to come so easily. You're going to have to earn it. So he'll throw the body around, but he kind of lost a little bit of the puck skill component. And I think it took away from his timing and his touches. And I want him, it's like, all right, that was good feedback, but maybe you took it a little too literally. Tune a little bit of it out, right? You know how people say, like, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Marty Netchus needs to leave a little bit of that behind and get back to his regular season game that I know by itself can earn a little bit of criticism. Because you're right, soft would be the word that comes to mind then even. But yeah, I think he's in his head a little bit too much. I loved what Pete DeBoer said this morning about how 80%, was it? 80% of their pre-scouts are to shut down Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. So I want to see a response that says, well, why not 100%? Pete DeBoer?
Right.
Why not 100%? But your pre-scout couldn't have accounted for this. And that's obviously me getting a little silly with it. But it's a testament to what those players can be. And I also look on the Dallas side of things. They've had players taking maintenance days, players that have been game time decisions like Labushkin and Oscar Back. And I think that the toll of the Colorado Avalanche has hit Dallas in a quieter way. And so this is where it's 6 games. We're hoping it obviously goes 7. This is where the Avs hopefully have an advantage, right? Like, they lose Ross Colton. That sucks. They get a Gabriel Landeskog. That rules. And I want to see the Avs take advantage then of a Dallas team that might be a little more weathered than they lead on. Because the way that they've been playing hockey, this bang crash style of hockey, it's not sustainable for anyone.
Right.
And the Avs have been, right there meeting it. So I don't doubt that they're feeling it a little bit too. But I kind of want the Avs to really take advantage, to your point earlier in this game, because I do think Dallas could be in a more vulnerable position than they let on.
Well, and you've got them at elevation, and Dallas just flew in last night and after practicing and all that. So, jump on them, make them skate, make them know you're there. And I think there's a real recipe for success for the Avs tonight, but they got to get to their game.
Do you want to talk about the power play for a second? Are you worried?
No. And Megan, I have a different perspective on this, I think, than a lot of people.
Let's hear it.
They've played 5 games. They've scored power play goals in 3 of them. The 0 for 6 night was really tough. The power play looked stagnant. It really struggled. And then in game 5, the power plays you had, one comes kind of late. Doesn't really matter. MacKinnon's goal at the end of the first was a power play. I don't think it's in as dire of a position that as a lot of people are leading on, personally. Because if you get a power play goal tonight, you're talking about 4 of 6 games you've converted on the power play.
I think I'm inclined to agree with that, share that stance. I think the concern has been how many opportunities they've gotten on the power play is what's been unusual. And so there is that sense of, all right, well, like, you need to convert on more than one of these in a given night, in that case, because there are so many calls going both ways. And I think the Avs have done a decent job on the kill to kind of keep that part of it pretty even. But as we've seen, it also has been the difference maker for Dallas in a couple games here. So I think that's my only frustration, is there's shades of trouble with the power play that we've seen before in the regular season. And I think that's also what frustrates me, is I want to see them get that out of their system and stay out of their system. I don't like that it crept back in at the worst time. And it just feels like some of the struggle with execution 5v5 does boil over into power play a little bit.
Yeah.
And so
and
I just hope the execution issues, as those alleviate, you see a much more cohesive power play also.
And yeah, it's Again, I think because there's the night that you go 0 for 6 and you lose in overtime. There's game 2 in overtime, where if my memory serves me right, there's game 2 where you lose in overtime and you have the 4-minute power play to start. So I think there are a couple of flashpoint moments in this series where the power play has really been under the microscope and it hasn't converted. But I actually think the Avs have a better power play percentage in this series than the Stars.
I think the PK hasn't gotten the love that it's deserved.
I think that is also 100% correct.
Because Dallas has converted on some man advantage opportunities, but there's been context each time too, to include like Kiviranta without a stick, right? And just a great Mackenzie Blackwood too has been a huge difference maker on the kill. But I know the numbers might tell a slightly different story, but I have felt really good about the penalty kill, and I also know that's not a popularly held opinion.
Felt good about the penalty kill?
Yeah, I think people don't think it's aggressive enough. And I disagree with that assessment. Like, I see the way in which players like Logan O'Connor get sticks in lanes and are able to clear pucks. And it doesn't just mean shorthanded goal either, though that's really cool and good for the kill. It's just the defensive things too that players like O'Connor do, players like Kelly, Drury. Drury, I feel, is very aggressive on the kill. And I think that he kind of brought that with him from Carolina, and it just fit really well within the Avs system. But yeah, there have been smart defensive plays that have been made that I didn't think got a lot of credit on the kill. I hate that they've been on it so much.
Yeah, and like there definitely have been moments where Dallas has really sustained pressure on the power play, and it's been a little like, oh, you got to survive. But I'm with you. I think there have also been flashpoint moments in this series where it's like, holy shit, you need a big kill. And the Avs PK is delivered. Megan, we're coming up on 30 minutes here. Who's your difference maker for tonight?
I'm going to go with Artturi Lehkonen. Because I was driving behind a car that had 2962, and someone needs to take Nathan MacKinnon. It's not going to be me. He should be a difference maker, but I'm going to go with Artturi Lehkonen, a player that still does a lot of the right things on a nightly basis, but I think he's good for a clutch goal, and that's where I'm looking to tonight.
Mine's Val. This is a guy that we talked about for the last 2 seasons of, man, how much different are things for the Avs if you have Val Nichushkin. Well, you've got him. You've got him in this series. And he needs to be a bigger difference maker. This is an exact night where if you can get a big night from Artturi Lehkonen and Val Nichushkin, you're going to put yourself in a great spot to win. You need more out of Val, and I think he's going to deliver it here tonight. Let's get to these super chats. We got 6 super chats lined up here. Just going to go in order. Oh, man, we got the lights going for a while here tonight. LFG Avs, big night tonight. It is a big night tonight, Megan. This is it. Do or die. Win or go home. This is a big one for the Avs. $5 from Ryan P. Thank you, Ryan P. Also, love the Darth Maul picture. $4.99 from our guy, Vaguely Sober. I'm starting a GoFundMe for lobotomies for the people screeching to fire Coach Bednar. I've been telling people, do I think it's possible? Yeah, sure. Anything's possible. I would still be very surprised if the Avs chose to go that route, especially you got to 6 games. You're playing against another very good team. I would be surprised if the Avs actually parted ways with Jared Bednar.
I would be too. And I think it would be a mistake.
I'm with you. Oh, I have a lot that I can talk about on this. $1.99 more from Vaguely Sober. Right back in it with the party lights. Shoot. So true. Pucks to the net. $2 from Miss Truly back in the chat. Miss Truly, good to see you. What is your most optimistic take on tonight? Megan, we'll start with you.
I think tonight's the exact kind of game where they need an unexpected hero. And I know we kind of were like, who's your unexpected hero? Artturi Lehkonen and Val Nichushkin, pretty expected, right? Mm-hmm. I do want to see a player.
Say it.
After Zambolinski took the bad penalty that he shouldn't have, it was not fair. He was innocent. there was a lot of someone even in the chat was like, I can't wait to see how she's going to defend this. And you know what would absolve all of it is if he scored tonight.
There you go.
I think that'd be crazy. And I think this is the kind of game where you need an unlikely hero. So like make it a Jack Drury goal, make it a Sam Malinsky goal, somewhere you don't necessarily expect it. I'll settle for any of those.
My optimistic take is the same optimistic take that I had before Game 5 that very much did not come to pass. That this is the night they get to Jake Ottinger and kind of break through a little bit. We've seen that be something that can happen to Jake Ottinger as you get deeper into the postseason. And my super optimistic take for tonight is that the Avs get to Otter tonight. So there you go. $1.99 for being sober again. Back in it. Post-game blurry. Pre-game Jesse smudged the camera. Mark would yell at me if I smudged these lenses. So as much as I want to provide blurry Jesse,
you're just gonna have to squint.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to squint because I don't like getting in trouble.
Especially with Mark.
Big shout out to Vaguely Sober. $5 from LA94. I'm just hopping in, so don't know if you've covered this already, but in my opinion, in order to win tonight, Kale has to step up, and so does the PP. We talked about the power play, Megan. Any thoughts on Kale before we get out of here tonight?
I just want to see him foil the ways that Dallas has tried to stifle him. You know, they'll kind of close in on him at the point so that it's not easy for him to get a shot off from the middle. And I want to see him find a way around that. You know, you could see him juke guys. I want to say Game 4, you saw shades of Cale Makar. And so he was able to drive in or ice using his skating, his agility you mentioned, right? And so I want to see Cale counter some of the ways that Dallas has tried to key in on him specifically because I think he's that skilled. Look, I'm not going to say it's an easy feat, but I think he has the skill level to be able to do it. And so I want to see him break through that a little bit.
Well, and then he's got to break through that a bit, and then he's got to beat Jake Ottinger. He has had 4 or 5 clean looks that Jake Ottinger has gotten the best of him on. When Kale is, to your point, able to get himself in that situation, get one past Ottinger. Find a way to get one past him.
Yeah, just start scoring goals. It's that easy, you guys.
Shit, you're totally right, Megan.
Just start starting and stop stopping.
Start shooting. That's going to do it, guys. We are heading over to Ball Arena right now. I guess we still got like 2 hours till puck drop. But we're heading over right now anyways. It's Avs and Stars. It's Game 6. This is it. This has the potential to be the final pregame of the season. We certainly hope we're back at it on Saturday. But this is why we watch, right? This is the part that you live and die on everything, and you hang on each shift and every goal and all that. And like Gabe Landeskog said, the Avs are lucky to have this opportunity here tonight to push it back to 7. Series isn't over yet. We'll be back at it after the game, bringing you guys everything from the locker room, from the podium, and then we will be live immediately after the game as well to break everything down from our perspective. So that's going to do it. She's Meghan Angley. I'm Jesse Montano. We got Chloe behind the glass today, making it all happen. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you after the game. Here we go.
Bye.